It's a big night on the River Trent, the city ground in Nottingham, England, where tonight it's Nottingham Forest and FC Porto in the second leg of the Europa League quarterfinals. The winners off to the semis to meet either Aston Villa or Bologna. Hello, everybody. I'm Seth Eaves. Thank you so much for being with us. We even saved you the best seat in the house. We should have a most interesting quarterfinal matchup today as Forest roll out Ortega, Williams, Murillo, Cunha, Aina, Sangare, Dominguez, Ndoye, Gibbs, White, Hutchinson, and Wood. That's your starting 11 for a Forest team that are also fighting to stay in the Premier League, currently 16th right now in what some are hailing as an all-time relegation scrap, being with some of the clubs that are in said relegation scrap. Match referee tonight is Danny Macaulay, an experienced referee from the Netherlands. Marcel Siekstra and Jan de Vries are his assistants. Ivan Bibek of Croatia handles the VAR tonight. And that's what's going to happen. And that guy from Croatia could be very much in the spotlight tonight. In this match, 1-1 from the first leg. And still we wait. And now we can tell you the Porto lineup. Costa, Zaidu, Bednarek, Silva, and Costa. Vega, Rosario, Fofana in the midfield. Signs, Mofi, Gomez. Your starting five. Of those starting 11, 6 are on yellow cards. So a booking tonight means that they would not play in the semifinal first leg. Not play in the semis if Porto were to advance. These are two clubs that do have European history in their past. Nottingham Forest, two-time winners of the European Cup, once in 1979, and then again in 1980. Back-to-back, they won. Great competition. They made a deep run in this particular competition back when it was known as the UEFA Cup in 1996. And then Porto, you talk about their European success. Two-time winners of Europe in 87 and 04. And they've won this competition twice as well in 03 and in 11. And we underway. Forest will be attacking the goal left to right of the first half in their red uniforms with the white numerals. Porto in their blue and white shirts attacking the opposite end. Foul here on Jair Cunha. And again, they're equals in this tie, and they're equals in the fact that they're both in the quarters, and they're equals in the tie itself, but not exactly equals as far as domestic form goes. I mentioned Forest in 16th, just 3 points above the drop zone in the Premier League. Porto are 5 points clear of Sporting Lisbon with 5 to play, and they're in here. And a good save, still not all the way clear. And then the shot goes just over the bar. But to finish, they're 5 points clear with 5 to play at the top of the Portuguese league. In fact, there's still a chance that they could somewhat replicate what they did in 2011 when they won the Europa League, the league, and the Cup. They have a big second leg semi-final cut tie next week, so it's all there for the side from Portugal. Porto trying to get it back. Here's Pablo Rosario winning the challenge. Vitor Pereira in charge of Nottingham Forest. Fourth different manager they've had in the last year. Turmoil, the owner of that club, obviously. It was very controversial, to put it mildly. Porto trying to move forward, and they might have a chance now with Borja Sainz. And Sainz loses out. Now it's Forest with a chance. Gibbs White might get on to the end of this. Gibbs White couldn't get there with Rosario. Now Gibbs White again. And a delayed offside from Mr. Michelay. Forest are unbeaten in their last 4 league matches. That included a draw at Manchester City and a win at Tottenham. They drew 1-1 with Aston Villa in their most recent league encounter. Forest were 13th in the league phase. They won 4 games, drew 2, and lost 2. They played Porto in the league stage back in October. Forest won that game 2-0 on 2 penalties, one from Morgan Gibbs White and another from Igor Jesus. As Porto try to pass the ball around. Forest also beating Malmo, Utrecht, and Ferencváros. There. That was the 4 wins. The 2 draws came against Real Betis and Sturm Graz, and the 2 defeats to Midtjylland and Braga. Forest have already played 2 knockout rounds. They beat Fenerbahce in the playoffs, and then in the last 16, won a penalty shootout against Midtjylland. Porto trying to play the ball through here, could not do it. I'll be out for a goal kick. And again, this is my way of trying to kill time whenever, the teams have just kind of hold possession their own half. That's the Forest story. Porto coming off a 3-1 win at Estoril. They've won 24 out of a possible 29 league matches this year. They've been top of the pile since late August. They've never looked back. As mentioned, they're in the semifinals of the Cup. They get a foul as a Forest player goes down. That could be a yellow card. We'll see. Porto's Europa League journey, they were 5th in the league phase. 5 wins, 2 draws, and 1 defeat. Porto beating Salzburg, Red Star Belgrade, Nice, Malmo, and Rangers in the league phase. Their 5 wins. The 2 draws were against Utrecht and Victoria Pilsen, and the 1 loss was to Forest. They beat Stuttgart 4-1 on aggregate in the last 16 to get to the quarterfinals as Chris Wood takes a bit of a tumble there. He's still looking. VAR is going to work to check for a potential red card. Slowly helped off the pitch. The VAR still checks for the red card. We can give you Porto's recent history against English sides. Again, prior to playing Nottingham Forest, their most recent encounter against an English side was last season, a 3-3 draw against Manchester United in the Europa League phase. The year prior, they played Arsenal in the last 16 of the Champions League. They lost that one on penalties. Now, looks like the VAR check is done. And it's going to be a red card. Jan Bednarek is sent off. And a man who once applied his trade in England with both Southampton and Aston Villa, the Polish international, has been sent off. And Porto are down to 10. Well, my. It goes without saying that this changes things just a little bit. So Porto down to 10. How will they cope? Forced immediately trying to attack, and on the left-hand side trying to in. Now it's Gibbs White pulling the strings for Nottingham Forest. He's into the penalty area. Gibbs White trying to play it in. What? He couldn't quite. Just missed him. Magari trying to head it back forward. Now it goes back around to Pereira. 11 minutes gone almost, and still we search for the first goal. Between Nottingham Forest and FC Porto. Forest playing in a European competition, a major European competition, for the first time since '96. Now it's Gibbs-White on the run here for Nottingham Forest. Morgan Gibbs-White, shot through a deflection, and in it goes! Morgan Gibbs-White, with the aid of a deflection, Forest lead on the night and on aggregate. And Vitor Pereira's men have made the man advantage pay off. Morgan Gibbs-White, 1 on the night, 2-1 on aggregate. And who does that take a deflection on? It took a deflection off of somebody, and it takes a deflection off of Pablo Rosario, the Dominican Republic international midfielder. And it left Diogo Costa stranded. First, won't care who got the goal. Other than then they have it. Trying to run forward again, and Gibbs-White has it in the attacking half. Ball played in for Amari Hutchinson now on the right-hand side. Hutchinson now will give the ball off to Elliot Anderson. I'm going to play it in. Here's another cross. And Nico Williams couldn't quite get it going the right way. In a major European competition, Force had not ever played a Portuguese side until this year when they played two of them, Porto and Braga. Now Forrest trying to work it again to the penalty area. Can smell blood here. Good first touch. How's the second touch? Wide. Again, they passed the ball well, and the shot going wide from Nicolas Dominguez. Of course, I said Elliot Anderson. That was a glaring mistake on my part. Made, of course, that was just a common misspeak because, of course, Elliot Anderson normally wears number 8, but you might have noticed, if you were watching the match, you might have noticed that the Forest players all had a Anderson 8 shirt and said, "We are with you." He is not in action tonight following the passing of his mother, Helen. Our deepest condolences are with his family and the Nottingham Forest family on what I just cannot imagine has to be just a awful situation. Chris Wood is not going to be able to continue on. Naki suffered from the Bednarek challenge a little bit too much, so he's off. The first substitution is an enforced one, and the 25-year-old Brazilian Igor Jesus, who is finishing up his first year with Nottingham Forest, scored a brace against Swansea in the League Cup. He scored both goals in their draw against Real Betis earlier in the competition, and why it goes. Previously played with Cortiba, Shabab Al-Hali, and Botafogo. He's made 5 appearances for Brazil. He scored 1 goal for Brazil. Came in October of 2024 in a World Cup qualifier away to Chile. As Porto cleared one behind, that will be a corner for Forest. Nico Williams now takes it. And again, because we don't have a graphic up, we're going to be radio style when we tell you repeatedly what the aggregate score is. 2-1 on aggregate. Williams, corner, chested it down originally. But Porto booted away. It is all forced, as you would imagine, with the home crowd and the fact they have the man up. And they can be, I wouldn't say gung-ho. Premier League safety, obviously, a massive priority, but they don't have the pressures of going for a domestic treble of sorts as Porto are. Minutes on the clock. Wide. They're trying to bring it back. Now here comes Omari Hutchinson. Hutchinson into the penalty area. His cross! And Dan Ndoye could not meet it. Minutes gone. And a half minutes gone. Ibrahim Sangare now gets it to Ola Aina. Now Hutchinson. Aina. Now Cunha in his own half. Force again trying to push forward. Here's Gibbs White. Long ball to Hutchinson. Hutchinson into the penalty area. Hutchinson trying to weave and weigh and dance. Now back to Aina. Aina looking for the curling cross. Costa's able to grab it. We're also going to do is update you on the other matches tonight in the Europa League and in the Conference League. And it looks more and more likely like the winner of this match will play Aston Villa. Villa are 1-0 up on the night against Bologna, 4-1 aggregate. But hold that thought. Gibbs White steals it. He's in the area. It's cleared away only as far back as Hutchinson, though. Hutchinson is then fouled by Vega. But Villa have the lead. Ollie Watkins got the goal. Looks like they're going to go through. Earlier tonight, Freiburg beat Celta Vigo 3-1 on the night. So they're through 6-1 on aggregate. They'll play the winner of the Real Betis Braga tie. Betis are up 1-0 on the night in that one. Anthony got the goal, 2-1 on aggregate. So as things stand, your Europa League Final Four would be Forest against Villa and Betis against Freiburg. But again, we've got such a long way to go, and there's going to be so much drama on this night. Don't ever assume anything is a done deal. I'll tell you, Crystal Palace are now 1-0 up on the night. Here is a Free kick for Forest. Oh, my word. Well, the less said about that one for Murillo, the better. Way off to the left and into about the second row of the Porto supporters section behind the goal on that right side. Finish up, it's still goals between Strasbourg and Mainz. AEK Athens lead Rayo Vallecano 1-0, so they've gotten one back. And one final today, AZ and Shakhtar ended 2-2, meaning that Shakhtar, the Ukrainian side, advanced 5-2. On aggregate. So Shakhtar will play likely Crystal Palace if things stand, and it would be Rayo against Mainz in the Conference League. Gary Birchel's among the famous dignitaries, a part of those two European Cup winning sides under the late Brian Clough. Has made his name for many years in English television as a well-respected TV pundit. Forced to have possession inside their own half. Again, a club that has been through it all, Forest. A proud club. Had the success domestically. Won everything but the FA Cup, famously, under Brian Clough. That was the one trophy he could never win. He won the European Cup, of course. He won the League Cup numerous times, and he won the League Championship. But never get his hands on that FA Cup. Came close in 91, losing to Tottenham in a final. Left-hand side. Ndoye trying to get the cross in. And it's sliced behind for a corner by Alberto Costa. So Nico Williams with the corner. Williams. Cross and too high and caught by Costa. 1-0 on the night to Nottingham Forest, 2-1 on aggregate. A Morgan Gibbs-White goal that took a very fortunate deflection. And Forest now are on the attack one more time. Nico Williams loses out, but yeah, to finish up Forest then. The 90s hit. They were founding members of the Premier League. 93, what was Clough's last year. They were relegated. They went back up the next year. Had a great year in 95, which qualified them for the UEFA Cup in 96. But they were relegated again in 99. And after that 99 season, it took them 23 years before they finally got back to the big time. A spell that also included a couple of seasons in League One. Hutchinson laying it off. Ndoye now into the area. Good last-ditch slide. Tackle there to prevent the Forest attack from going any further. It is all home team so far in this one. Again, they're playing a man down as well after Jan Bednarek was sent off for a challenge on Chris Wood, which has since led to Wood being forced out of tonight's game. Porto trying to get through there. Got a leg out there, but too many red shirts back there due to defending. And here comes Ola Aina. Williams now over to Gibbs-White. Gibbs-White pulling strings. Good pass. Forest now with some room here to operate. Good ball into the penalty areas. They're an end product. Not quite. But boy, do they have Porto milling in retreat every time they gain possession, it seems. Now lofted in again in the area. Oh, that was a poor first touch. And an offside flag up as well, much to .27.5 minutes gone. Sangare. Now forced again left-hand side. Attacking once again with Williams. Just causing Porto all kinds of trouble. Sangare. Murillo, through ball, couldn't quite get to Gunn. Or not Gunn. Porto now with Sanusi. Hutchinson now back to Sanusi. Now back to Gunn in goal. Or Stefan Ortega in goal. Once on the books at Manchester City was Ortega. Hutchinson. Now Gibbs White. Rio. Good layoff here. Cross, far post header. Jesus got his head on it, but it was right at Costa. Again, it's all Nottingham Forest. .30 gone. 1-0 Nottingham Forest. Here's Porto with a throw in. Aina. A bit of a struggle. Porto with another cross. Blocked. Rosario. Now Sanusi. Sanusi. And then back, and then Hutchinson covering up the defensive space. And Forrest going the run again. And then pushed from behind was Ndoye. And that's going to be a yellow card. And Porto, again, In trouble. They've already got a man sent off now. They've got a man on a yellow card. It's Tareem Mafi, the Nigerian forward who is on loan from Nice. So Forrest with it one more time. Murillo. And they're just being very patient and precise with their passing. Murillo now back to Sangare. That 6 looks like an 8. That's another reason I made the mistake I made earlier. Aina now over to Hutchinson. Hutchinson now cuts to his left. Back it goes to Sangare. Dominguez. It's White left-hand side now. It's Williams. Nico Williams now to Sangare. Sangare thought he was going to shoot for a second. Opted not to. Gave it to Hutchinson now. Hutchinson. Hutchinson cross far post. And headed behind for a corner. Porto are just hanging on here, it would seem. So now Force with a lot of big bodies there for their corner. Here it comes. Lifted in. Header. Over. As Jesus couldn't quite keep the header down. And a goal kick to Porto. Of course, hard to believe. We talk about Porto's success in Europe. Hard to believe it's been 15 years since that great side that Andre Villas-Boas was managing. That had the likes of, what? Rodriguez was in that side. Radamel Falcao. Jackson Martinez. They had players, man. João Matinho. They won everything. They didn't lose a whole lot, including winning the Europa League. Falcao's header giving them the 1-0 win against Braga in Dublin. Now Porto in possession. Fofana. And Williams goes down. As to did the Porto player, and well, yeah, coming together there between Williams and William Gomez. No, it's not William Gomez. Who lunges in there? I believe that's that Vega. No, it's Alberto Costa. Costa limping a little bit as he stuck up. He's received a yellow card for his troubles. And if Porto were to turn this around and advance to the semifinals, at least for the first leg, he would play no part. So here is Morgan Gibbs-White running the show, finding Hutchinson. Hutchinson, another last-ditch piece of defending by the Portuguese side. It'll be another Nottingham Forest corner, and some visible frustration from Rosario. He's had a rough night. It was his deflection that let the goal in, and he's mad that he had to be called upon to be the last line of defense. Fourth Forest corner of the night. 36 on the clock. Hutchinson plays his short to Williams. Hutchinson lofts one. Good knotted header. Layoff. Murillo! Oh! That would have made amends for that free kick disaster. Just curled wide of the goal. Man, he was inches away from 2-0. Torpeira writing some things down in a handy-dandy notebook. I can only assume it's for his halftime team talk. It'll probably just be as simple for Forrest as just do a better job of finishing. Be more clinical. Aina on the right-hand side. Aina. Well, now Hutchinson. Gibbs White. Good little layoff here. Gibbs White. Now it's Sangare. Murillo. Now back to Sangare again. Sangare now over to Aina. Murillo. Comes back over to Dominguez. Dominguez went to the little layoff. Inside Gibbs White. Now Sangare. Sangare laying it off now. Hutchinson. Hutchinson went for goal. That was rather ambitious and good save. Well, it looked as if he went for goal. He might have been going for a cross. It was just misjudged, or players didn't know it. Whilst assuming that would have been a goal. It would have been an attempt on a goal. Sanusi trying to lead the way, and he gets pulled down. And Amari Hutchinson is the first Nottingham Forest player to go into Danny Nicolay's book tonight. So a yellow card. The man who really caught the eye playing at Ipswich Town. Meanwhile, in the middle of all that, Seko Fofana of Porto had his jersey ripped. So a new one needed. It is 42, thank goodness. Man who's on loan at Porto from Rennes in the French league. Does have experience with England in the 2014-15 season. He made 21 appearances on loan at Fulham. He was on loan from Manchester City. Sanusi. Trying to play it in, and it's a good save. Now Gibbs White. Right now over to Aina. Aina now back over to Jair Cunha. First time I've really called his name tonight. We're in the 42nd minute. Forrest trying to patiently probe their way through. Williams with a pass to Sangare, center of the field. Sangare now will lay it off right side. Hutchinson. Another cross coming in. Costa claims it. Hutchinson's causing trouble. He's just not hitting that sweet spot on those deliveries. Sanusi now over to Rosario. Porto now trying to play it out of their own half. Fans have made the trek from Portugal all the way to the English Midlands. Hutchinson with it now for Forrest into the area. Hutchinson. Oh, bad pass. No one was there. Sanusi slice was deflected away by William Gomez. Complaints from Francesco Farioli, the Porto manager. Vitor Pereira also upset. Now play is stopped. And did the coach just get a yellow card? No, whistle here. There's a bit of a kick out right there. Meanwhile, Aston Villa are now 3-0 up on the night against Bologna, so Villains are doing it again in Europe. Great run last season in the Champions League. Porto have it back one more time. Now Murillo. Amari Hutchinson now. Hutchinson. He's with it now. Back it goes to the side. Ford's still with it. There's going to be 5 minutes of stoppage time here at the end of this first half. Gibbs White tried to play it through. Williams cross and away by Vega. Still not all the way clear. Another header. Oh! And the header just off target by Dominguez. Would have been a huge goal to take into the locker room. Oh! Glanced off his head. It just could not find the goal from Nicolas Dominguez. Seconds. The 5 first half stoppage time minutes have been played. Now you got Porto on the run. And then a relatively hopeful shot, it has to be said, by Sanusi. Goes well off target. Much to ponder for Farioli in his halftime team talk, I would imagine. Porto playing this ball long again here. .35 on the clock. Now over the free kick. Porto with Gabri Vega. So here's Porto with a chance of a free kick. It's a decent header, but not decent enough. And that'll more than likely be the last meaningful attack of the first half. You would think, as it was again Alberto Costa. He's been involved in a lot for Porto in this first half at both ends. Didn't get that pass to go. Halftime indeed, and Morgan Gibbs-White's goal is the difference, and Nottingham Forest are 45 minutes away from their first European semi-final in more than 40 years. They lead the side for Portugal 1-0 on the night and 2-1 on aggregate at halftime. We'll take a break. When we come back, some halftime fun. Halftime, Nottingham Forest 1-0 up against FC Porto in the second leg of this UEFA Europa League quarterfinal tie. And it's the second leg, and they lead it 2-1 on aggregate. Big week of action, of sporting action coming your way this weekend here on this channel, Ultimate Sports Media. No off season. Tomorrow night, got a doubleheader. The final two games of the NBA play-in tournament will start at 7:30 as the East play-in, the Charlotte Hornets and the Orlando Magic. Then it's the Warriors and the Suns from Phoenix at 10. Then Saturday, monster day of action, starts at 3 o'clock. We'll have three streams running concurrently pretty much, with two starting at 3 and one at 3:30. At 3, Game 1 of the Stanley Cup playoffs between Ottawa and Carolina. Also at 3 Eastern, we'll have the Copa del Rey final, Atletico Madrid against Real Sociedad. And then from 3:30, from 3:30, first round of the NBA playoff series between the Timberwolves and the Denver Nuggets. And then primetime Saturday night, 8 o'clock, Game 1 of a much-anticipated series in the NHL between the Philadelphia Flyers and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Then Sunday, 2 o'clock Eastern Time, NASCAR Cup Series returns to action for the Kansas Speedway with the Advent Health 400. And then from 5:30, it's the IndyCar Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach, one of their marquee events of the season. And then at 9 o'clock, Game 1 between the Portland Trailblazers and the San Antonio Spurs. So should be a lot of fun. A lot of stuff coming your way this weekend. Here it is 1-0 to Nottingham Forest against Porto. Let's get you caught on what else is happening in the Europa League tonight. Aston Villa are running right against Bologna. It's 3-0 at the half with goals from Watkins, Buendia, and Rogers. 6-1 on aggregate. The winner of this Forest-Porto game plays the winner of that one, and it's looking like Aston Villa will be there. Could we get an all-Midlands Europa League semifinal? That'd be something. One match earlier today, Freiburg beat Celta Vigo 3-1 on the night, 6-1 on aggregate. Matanovic, Suzuki made it 2, and Suzuki with 2 goals. That made it 3-0 to Freiburg. Celta did get a consolation goal in, and it's Betis up 2-1 on Braga at the half. The Spanish side leading that one 3-2 on aggregate in that one. As for the UEFA Conference League, right now, one final today. Early kickoff, AZ and Shakhtar ended 2-2. Shakhtar advancing 5-2 in aggregate. It's Fiorentina 1, Crystal Palace 1, 4-1 to Palace on aggregate. AEK Athens are now 2-0 up on Rayo Vallecano at the half. The Spanish side still lead at 3-2 on aggregate. And Strasbourg have now leveled their tie against Mainz. They lead 2-0 in the night. That's 2-2 on aggregate. Second half of the City Ground comes your way next. This is UEFA Europa League quarterfinal watch-along here on Ultimate Sports Media. Some changes being made by the visitors as we get set to start the second half. Alberto Costa is off. Victor Froholt, Danish midfielder, is coming on. 20-year-old who's made 10 appearances for his country. Also, Jacob Kiwar, veteran Polish defender who's played in the Premier League. He's actually on loan from Arsenal. He comes on to replace Gabri Vega. And then a third change. Zaidu Sanusi is off, and Francisco Mora coming on for Porto. And then a fourth change. Wow. Borja Sainz off and Alan Varela on. So it is a complete roll of the dice for Porto. A quadruple halftime change. And right away, they draw contact, a foul. And as they go left to right in their blue and white shirts, forced the other way in their red, they're going to have a free kick as Dominguez lunged in with got a boot in. And that's going to be a free kick for Porto right on the edge of the area. I can tell you Forrest made a change. Amari Hutchinson off. Callum Hudson-Odoi on. Now a huddle going on to see what Porto are going to do with this free kick, and fans are chanting. Referee's saying, "Get on with it." If I were a fan, I'd be like, "Get on with it. Let somebody take the free kick." Kiwar is over it. Gomez over it as well. 5 in that Porto wall, just on the edge of the area. Varela. Look, it's going to either be Gomez or Varela. Well, I don't know. Maybe 4 options. Who's going to take it? It's going to be Gomez, and his shot blocked. Volley by Kiwar also blocked. Or survived that threat. Now here is Porto Froholt. Now back over to Rosario. Now Fofana on the left-hand side. Fofana now over to Kiwar. Now it's going to go to Gomez. Fofana now over to Rosario. Froholt. Rosario with a cross. Headed away. Good start to the second half for Porto after offering almost nothing in the first half. But now forced with the man advantage, trying to run on a counter. It's Ndoye. Long ball, Hudson-Odoi. Ndoye. Now it is Hudson-Odoi. Williams. Hudson-Odoi. Now over to Gibbs White. Rio now over to Cunha. Now Forrest will play it back in their own half. Here is Sangare. Now it's Williams. Williams gallops forward. Hudson-Odoi on the left-hand side. Trying to cut in. Dominguez. Good layoff. Comes to Williams. Nico Williams. Blocked. Munster now able to boot it away. And let off there for Porto, it must be said. Force now in possession with Sangare. Hudson-Odoi left-hand side. Hudson-Odoi now, Williams. Hudson-Odoi now gets it to Murillo. Sangare. Here. Sangare now, it is Williams. It's a good layoff for Doye. Another good cross. Here's a chance. What a save. Jesus denied. My heavens. Good save to keep it a 1-goal lead for Forest. Now it's Porto again. Roholt with a cross. Roholt trying to move it here. Far now back to Varela. Rosario. Now Silva. Kiavor on there. Now here is Froholt. Now gets it to Gomez. Now it's Nico Williams. Challenge and a push foul on Gomez. And now it looks like one of the Porto higher-ups that's sitting on the bench just got a yellow card. Not the coach, some other, I'm guessing he's a high-ranking executive, being that he's wearing a suit and a tie, a Porto lace suit with a tie. So, my gosh, I don't know what the deal is there. Here is Fofana. He's going to let fly from distance. And it was always a hopeful attempt that went wide of the goal as the rain now starts to fall in the Midlands. Porto with it again. They chip it forward, and again, Fofana couldn't get there. Go Williams for Forest. Now Hudson-Odoi running free of the left-hand side. Hudson-Odoi with a cross, and the header is over and out of play by Gibbs-White. Sangare for forces. They are now in their own half. Now Hudson-Odoi. Left-hand side. It's Hudson-Odoi trying to curl it in. Nico Williams. Hudson-Odoi, and the cross claimed by Costa. Froholt gets it back over to Rosario. Now Kivor. Look it through. Out of play. Murphy the throw in. Fofana. Oh, it's a chance here for Gomez, the far post. He couldn't get a shot. Fofana couldn't get a header either. Oh, boy. Now Forrest trying to hit on the counter. It's end to end. It's Hudson-Odoi trying to cut in on his right. Laying off a shot for Gibbs White. Wide it goes. Off target. Porto have grown into this game, that's for sure. So now, Crioli thought that was the chance. Or actually, going to say that shot from Gibbs White was deflected on the way through. So it's going to be a corner for Forrest and Nico Williams. Referee is trying to tell them that there's no funny business going on here. High. Hyena with it now. Now it's Williams. Here for Nottingham Forest. Lays it off to Hudson-Odoi. Williams again. Hudson-Odoi. Now it's Dominguez. Williams. Sangare. Layoff here for Gibbs White. Odoi, Gibbs White's cross. Costa claims. Handball there by Williams. here comes Porto now, trying to cut on the left side. Froholt gives it to Fofana. He's got some room to shoot. He didn't really take his time, though, with it. He took too much time. And then Gomez with a foul on Jesus. That will lead to a... See if it leads to a booking or not. Oh, good ball here for Forest. Looks white. Now it's going to be full bank just a little bit. Here's Sangare. Dominguez. Now to Hudson-Odoi. Passing it off to Williams. Nico Williams wanted to let fly. His shot was blocked. Sangare now back with Hudson-Odoi. This is a good flowing move here. Gibbs White. Costas come off his line. It's going to be a corner kick for Nottingham Forest. Or it's actually going to be a goal kick. I thought it was a corner, but it's going to be a goal kick. Sangare. And another foul here is Nikola Milinkovic is set to come on for Forest here. Now here is Gibbs White. Hudson-Odoi. Left-hand side. Bit of a stunt now. Gets it back to Gibbs White. Hyena. Hyena now over to Sangare. Dominguez now laying it up for Gibbs White. Dominguez. Now it's Sangare weaving through on a slalom run. Finally ran into an obstacle. Porto back line. Hudson-Odoi now for Forest. Williams. Dominguez. Blocked. Sangare. Now it's Dominguez again. Now bank over to Williams. Hudson-Odoi. Williams. Went for a curl. And took a wicked deflection off of a Porto man. Out of play. It'll be a corner kick for Forest. Ageless Thiago Silva back there. Throwing himself at that play. And here's the change. Dan Ndoye's race has been run, and it's going to be the Serbian Nikola Milinkovic. He's previously played with Partizan, Telepotic, and Fiorentina. He's part of a Fiorentina side that reached both the final of the Coppa Italia and the UEFA Conference League in 2023, but they came up short both ends. Now Rio looks to be a little bit shaken up. Also a Porto change. Night done for Tareen Mafi. And coming on in his place will be Deniz Gül, the Turkish international forward, born in Sweden. Been with Porto since the summer of 2024. 4 goals at all competitions this season. Corner comes in, land anywhere. It's Hudson-Odoi and his shot off the bar. Still 2-1 on aggregate to Nottingham Forest. They lead 1-0 on the night. 2-1 aggregate as they try to '65 minutes. Mario still limping ever so slightly there. For 16 attempts to Porto 7. Rio finally now goes down and finally asks. Still deal with the injured Forest player. 68th minute. Meanwhile, Strasbourg have scored again against Mainz. So Odoi looking a little bit slow as well. .68 minutes gone. Now here is Callum Hudson-Odoi. Up through it is Fofana. Nearing the final 20 minutes. Froholt. Now Gomez. Cross. Gomez is out there yet again. Foul. The stoppage will allow Forrest to get another player in. And Murillo will finally be subbed out. Let's see who's going to replace him here. For Nottingham Forest. And the man who's going to come on is going to be Morato. So play resumes inside of 20 minutes to go. Will Porto find a way through, find an equalizer, not just on the night, but in the tie? Or will Forrest hold on or even extend the lead? In the 73rd minute, you better believe there's going to be a good amount of stoppage time here. And Nicolay now. Nicolay pulls off to the side. Froholt is coming in from Rosario. Francisco Mora. Time to bite your fingernails if you're a Forest supporter. 74th minute. Boy, Wolfie does a great job getting all these people just biting their nails. Villa's still 3-0 up on the night. Braga now lead Betis 3-2. And now lead that tie 5-3 on aggregate. What a turnaround that has been. And in fact, Braga just scored again. So it looks like it's going to be Braga and Freiburg in one semifinal. And then Aston Villa against the winner of this one. Which is still up for grabs. Forest with possession. In the attacking half now with Dominguez. Play it back over to Milinkovic. Pass. Forced to have it one more time with Bakwa, who's in. He just came in, and it's a good save out of Costa. Hudson-Odoi now injured. I'll tell you what, it's might be a great moment for Forest if they can hang on and advance to the semis, but the injury concerns are going to be a bit of a red flag ahead of their big run-in. Porto, of course, trying to wrap up a league title. They'll host Tondela at the weekend in the league before traveling to Estrela de Amadora. Then it's Alvareca at home, AVS away, and then Santa Clara on May 17th to finish the season. Also next week, they have the second leg of that semifinal cup tie with Sporting Lisbon. Roca in there. And it's going to be a kick for Porto. Meanwhile, Nottingham Forest, their remaining schedule as far as their run in, they host Burnley at the weekend. Then they go to Sunderland, they go to Chelsea, they'll host Newcastle. Go to Manchester United before hosting Bournemouth on the final day of the season on May 24th. Now, what a ball. Gibbs White onside. Keeper committed himself. He slows it down a little bit. Gives it back to Bakwa. And now a very, very delayed offside flag. Either throw the flag immediately or not. It's so annoying. I mean, are you kidding me? It's like this in every sport, too. For dramatic effect, they got to make sure everybody knows they're in town to see the referees, which is not the case. Silva now getting involved in some things here. Porto in the attacking half. 79th minute, about to be the 80th minute. Shot from distance. Oh, from a tight angle. Fofana wasn't that far off. And he urges the Porto fans to get behind the team. Porto do have possession, though. Goal kick. '81st minute. Forest have it inside their own half. They just try to probe and patiently pass their way through as much as possible. A foul, and it's a free kick to Porto. Forest have it here in the attacking half with Bakwa. Williams, can he get the cross in? He'll lay it off for Gibbs White. It's White now working through it yet again. Now it's Williams. Williams now laying it off. Now Jesus. Sangare. Get a good pass in. This is Dominguez. Jesus. Gibbs White. What then? I think it's going to be out for a corner kick. Corner coming in, and Porto deal with it defensively. Just now able to move through, but they haven't done it well. They get a clear. Gomez is shot off the bar. Oh my word! How close was that? Bakwa now playing it for Dominguez. Dominguez could have sealed it. End-to-end stuff one more time. Oh, man. Porto with Bednarik. Porto have it with Varela. Now it's Bednarek. Varela. Rolling down over to Fofana. Kivor. Left hand side is Porto. The world's greatest cross clearance, but Porto were able to deal with it. Now Williams. Forsk again playing it back with Morato. Porto have it. You gotta think it's gonna be all Porto attack down the stretch here. Varela. Lobbing it in. It's not a good touch by Fofana. Ortega has it, and he'll just take some time here. 86 on the clock. Violi just looking for help now. Up to be 87 on the clock. '88th minute now. Costa with it. He's got to kick it up the field eventually. Right hand side. Aina for Forrest. And Porto. On the right hand side. Chance for Gomez now to work through. Gomez. And again cut off with the pass. Forrest now with possession. Now here's Gomez. A little bit of a deflection. Forrest does the job. Aqua. And now back was down. Boy, Forrest can't be having another player injured here. Are Nottingham Forest about to reach the semifinals of a European competition? For the first time since the 80s. Still got a ways to go, but Now we can resume play. Did Porto have anything left? We've now played the 90 minutes. It's going to be 5 minutes of stoppage time. Morgan Gibbs-White, whose goal by aid of a deflection, proving to be the difference at the present time. We played 1 minute and 5. There might be more than 5 because of the substitution time. Forest away. Kiavor. Porto now have to launch one here. Gomez. Williams with a push. And a foul against Porto. Free kick to Forest. They'll take their time with this one. And they can just about see that semifinal place. Job not done, no. It's Porto. Shot and wide. Porto fans jumping down. It was a deflection. We got a block, and we got a corner here for Porto. Will there be time? Will there be time? Here comes the corner. Not very good. Near post. Headed away by Forest. Gomez lofting it in. Can Fofana beat Williams to it? No. Williams away. And now Bakwa's in. Trying to play it through. A touch from Jesus, whose deflected shot hit the bar. Igor Jesus nearly ended it once and for all. Costa was kind of caught in no man's land. He had just given up on it. Luckily for him, it hit the bar. Still a minute left for Forest to hang on. And that deflection actually means it's a corner. So it's Williams. Aina. Gomez with it now off the back of Williams. Gomez with a throw in. 35 seconds left. Another foul. Clock up, the 5 minutes about to run up. It's Forrest in possession. Sangare laying it off. Now it's Gibbs White. He'll just hold on to it. Flick back. Dominguez. Dominguez at the corner flag. Boy, just doing a great job of keeping possession. And now he's pushed over, and now that'll be a foul. That was a frustration push. And Porto about to see their European adventure for this season come to a conclusion. Dominguez gets the crowd fired up. We are nearing 1 minute past the allotted 5 that was promised. Free kick, and again, the referee is telling, do anything. Oh, that's it. It's over. Of the Europa League. Gibbs White's goal was enough to get the job done. Cue celebrations on the River Trent. The city ground is alive. A night to remember for Forest fans, both young and old. And Porto can still do a domestic double, but they will now left just to concentrate on their impending Portuguese League title and the Portuguese Cup. Forest still have a relegation fight in the Premier League to fight for, and they're going to play a fellow Midland side of the semifinals in Aston Villa. But for tonight, it's a return to the glory days. Nottingham Forest beat FC Porto 1-0 in the night. They win the tie 2-1 in aggregate and reach the last 4 of the Europa League.